Firstly, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. I know that all of you guys have busy schedules, so ATC, for the second or third time today, we really appreciate you guys coming out, taking time away from your busy schedules to join us for ATC's 4th Annual Tech Summit. I am Buddy Holmeyer, Delta Team Consultant here at ATC. In my role, I help organizations land on the exact right solution by conducting and taking our clients through ATC's proven Delta model, Delta process. In that process, we, as a Delta Team consultant, I stand by the IT leader, IT organization, IT team to guide you through initial discovery all the way through solution implementation before passing that solution over to ATC's support team, who's a local in-house 513 ATC support team that will support the solution that we implement throughout the life of that service. With that, I appreciate you guys joining us. I'm not going to take too much time up here. It's really cool for me to see. I've been at ATC for what seemingly feels like forever. Some of you guys will laugh at that because I'm very young, but I grew up in an ATC household, and I interned at ATC 3 or 4 stints before joining full-time about 7 months ago after graduating from Miami University, the real Miami University that is, up in Oxford, Ohio, with a degree in emerging technology and business design. Today, as you guys all know, we'll be talking about artificial intelligence and its impact on unified communications and contact center solutions. So no one better than Brandon Knight, head of customer experience at Zoom. Before joining Zoom, Brandon worked for 30 years doing contact center solutions, implementing them for organizations just like yourselves. On the back end of that, with that, Brandon will come up. He'll talk about the art of the possible, contact center, virtual agents, and more. He's the knowledge guy on that. And then on the back end of that, we'll invite up Mike McCalmont, CIO, who's graciously taken his time to join us today to educate about his organization, Atricure's transition from on-prem solution to the cloud with Zoom, using ATC as the partner. So I'll invite up Brandon, and then he'll take it away.
So here's the deal. I have a couple slides. I didn't make them. Don't really care what's on them. But I'm going to click through them if you guys don't make this interactive. I'm going to click through them, and I'm going to talk at you. So that's no pressure, but that's the setup, all right? My responsibility at Zoom, I should probably introduce somebody that would be way more important to you guys than I am, and that's JC right there. JC, wave, see JC? JC supports ATC, so he's your guy out here. This is Cincinnati, so nothing personal, but I'm not coming back. So I'm just joking. I love it here, actually. But JC owns this area. He'll be around here, and he'll help. He'll help support you guys. I really do come here all the time. I like ATC. I like this area. I remember this was the first area where I realized you could name things, and it didn't have to be true, because I stay at a hotel that has Cincinnati in the title, but it's in Kentucky. So I don't really know how y'all do that, how y'all get away with such things, but y'all do what you want. All right, this is very different. It's a very different conversation than I usually have. I'm responsible for Zoom's CX ecosystem. So more so where we're going. So our evolution from being Zoom, the meeting platform, to Zoom, the contact center product, technology company, AI products and stuff like that, and which ones we should integrate with. So not necessarily where Zoom has been for the last 15 years, but more where Zoom is going for the next 15 years. So if you have questions about that, I can help you. There's other people. I don't see Toby right now, but he'll be in here later on, and he can help you with that as well. But I'd like to have some time to really just answer questions. And I do this a little differently, in case you guys are wondering why I haven't clicked the slide yet, because I ran contact centers for a long time. And I would always go to trade shows, conferences. I take time out of my schedule, no matter how important I know that is. I always still felt like I was missing something. So there was always a reason. If I decided I was going to sacrifice and take time out of my day to go to do something, there was always a reason. So I'd like to get through those reasons. Seriously, why did you guys come here? Other than, it's the Hard Rock, and I guess the food was good, and things like that. but I'd rather, more so than getting through all these slides and stuff, I'd be more interested in addressing whatever reason you have for being here and coming to this specific presentation. I will tell you that I'm not going to talk a lot of the hypotheticals that are in AI, a lot of stuff that we're working on, because it scares people. I'm not going to lie to you. It scares people. I was in Europe a couple months ago talking about digital twins and digital cloning, and people got really freaked out. But it's going to happen, so you should learn about it, like embrace it. I'm going to make sure that it happens. So we were talking about that. But today we're going to talk about 5 actual ways AI is being used in contact centers right now. Okay, not what's going to happen, not what we could do, but what's happening right now. So a couple things. If you're interested in peer pressure, statistics, basically Gartner and Cap Jane talk about things that we already know. Everyone is talking about AI. The fun fact is, though, I get a lot of people that come up to me and it's like, oh, I want to do AI, like what should I do? Like, how much time do you have? That is a very long, involved, detailed conversation, and AI in and of itself doesn't mean anything. I'm going to click through this really quickly because this just shows you the evolution of our space, right? We started off with premises-based contact center companies. Everybody knows who they are, right? We started off with Avaya. I'm a little older. Like, I know Altel, Lucent, BCS, CMS. I was using Centerview. Some of you have no idea what I'm talking about right now. But those are the companies that really started the contact center industry before you get into the cloud guys. And that was the rave, right? For the last 10 years, it was like, oh, we got to move to the cloud. Everybody's going to the cloud. And that was, NICE and Contact. Genesys did it a little bit. Five9 is some of the well-known players in that space. What we're talking about now is it's basically the cloud, but it's a lot more automated, a lot more software, a lot more AI, and a lot less actual circuitry, network boxes, and stuff like that. So that's the difference in them. So these are actual AI and contact center use cases. These are things you can use AI for right now. Pop quiz, and don't worry, because I don't know any of your names. I'm not going to ask you this later. But are any of you, by show of hands, any of you doing any more than 3 of these right now? Y'all can look around. No one raised their hand, right? Which is absolutely insane, but it's where we are. Everyone talks about AI. Some people are excited about AI. Some people are afraid of AI, but the actual utilization of it and what it can be used for has not really been capitalized yet. It's still a very, very new and exciting thing. And the reason I like to show these things is because one of the things I talk about when people say, oh, like I want to buy AI, or you had somebody, no offense to my wonderful gentleman Mike here, but some of you might work in companies where your technology leadership just comes to you if you're in operations and they're like, hey, I want AI, go get that, right? Like it's something you can go like buy off a shelf or whatever like that. It doesn't work like that. AI is not a product, okay? I said it. It's not. Okay, it's not even like a meal. If you were sitting down to eat, it's not the steak, it's not the potatoes, it's none of that. It's more like a seasoning. It's something that can make other things better. It's something that can make, it can automate processes. It can make automated processes better. It can think faster and more completely. Those types of things. But in and of itself, it's not very useful. So I'm going to go into, like I said, I'm going to go into 5. And I said 5. I haven't seen this slide deck, so let's hope there's at least 5 on here. All right. But they talk about actual uses. Everybody knows about chatbots, right? Everybody knows about them. And there's different types of AI being used in different types of chatbots depending on where they're sourcing their data from. This is probably, I want to say probably the most common use of AI in the CX space right now. It's very good. It's easy to set up. You can make it ping off of a database. The limitations are, if anybody have ever used a chatbot and you've gone through, you answered all the questions, you're 10 questions deep, you put in all your information, and then you get to a point where invariably something happens, where that chatbot has no effing idea what you're talking about, and it can no longer help you. Okay? That happens. That's the reality of them, right? They're straightforward, they're simple, they're easy to set up, but they're limited in how far they can go. Okay, so they're gonna be able to respond and answer to 60, 65, 70% almost in a good situation of what people contact a business for, but they're not going to be they're not going to solve all of your issues. And they're never going to, by the way, in and of itself. That's not their design. Now, there's other things you can graduate from an AI into a virtual agent. You can graduate into more agent-centric type things. You can graduate into digital twins, digital clones. You can graduate into other things. But chatbots in and of themselves are designed to do. Any of you are familiar with contact center operations, like how contact centers work and stuff like that? Okay, so chatbots are designed to do what IVRs were originally designed to do, right? Anybody know what IVRs were originally designed to do? No? Say it again? Transfer your calls. IVRs, their original design, we used to say, oh, I don't know if you had your hand raised? Oh, okay. IVRs, back when it used to be like push 1 for sales and 2 for support, and everybody's like, oh, it's great, we're routing you. All the IVR sales companies, contact center technology told you, this is how you route customers to like the right location, the right agent, right? They get the fastest support, BS. IVRs were designed for call avoidance, period. They were designed to keep you from talking to a human being. That was their purpose, and that's how we rated them, okay? All IVRs were rated on, we came up with cool names for it, like self-service, right? But all it was really for was, can I keep you from talking to my human beings? Because human beings are expensive. So that's what IVRs were. That's what chatbots are. You can tell them I told you. Oh, and in case you haven't figured it out, I don't work in sales, okay? It's not my job, okay? You want to buy Zoom? JC and ATC will help you buy the ish out of Zoom, okay? That is not my job, all right? So, conversational analytics. Now, this gets a little bit more interesting, right? Because now we're talking about, it used to be like original quality programs. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. You used to have to actually listen to all the calls the agent took, and we'd score them on a manual sheet, and then the sheets became automated, and then all kinds of things came out like NICE and Verint and Calabrio and Yellow and all these different kind of workforce management and quality programs. But originally they were screening for words or trying to listen for words and like score did somebody say something, and you couldn't tell empathy, you couldn't tell tone, and you really didn't know where they were going. Everything was kind of separated. What AI has done in this space now is it now can take into account the context of what the person is saying. I'll give you an example of conversational AI now can listen to a call in real time and suggest things to an agent. Like if the person's asking about tires, I have a customer that does auto insurance, and if the person's asking about tires, the AI can now look and see if that person had an accident or filed a claim recently. And if they have, the AI can assume that the person is possibly wanting to talk about if tires are covered or whatnot, and can now give that information to the agent in real time. So the idea is that will make the agent better informed, right? Speed up the conversation, those types of things. But it's also listening for the tone of how people say things, so we no longer have to wonder. Now, the next step from this is, because we always want the agents to be better, right? We want to rate their level of service. The next step from this is, if I sense that the customer has a tone that is less than positive, if the customer is sad, angry, upset, or whatever, the next thing I want to listen for is, does the agent display empathy, right? Right now, you have to still do that. You have to listen to the call and see if they did that. But the next step for these is to monitor the agent's response to what the AI perceives the customer's tone or positioning to be. Quality monitoring, we talked a lot about that one, but this, AI is simply doing, this is another one. Quality monitoring you can't get away from. It's the best part of the job. And it's not. It's really not. Anybody here in workforce management? I don't want to insult anybody. Okay, good. It's weird. Like quality monitoring, workforce management, it's weird. And the people that do it are weird. I said it. You can tell them I said it. Okay? They're very special people. Okay? They want to know things. And this used to be a very tedious, necessary part of the job in the business, but it was very tedious, very manual, and now AI is putting all this together for no other reason than to do things more quickly, like figuring out when agents need to be there. We used to, shift bids and all that kind of thing is something that still exists, unfortunately, in a lot of contact centers, But with the AI that is available today, you really shouldn't have to be doing that anymore. You shouldn't be doing manual shifts and stuff like that. AI knows when people call. They know when they send you emails. They know when they want to chat with you. They know how many people it takes. It knows the average handle time of each of those, and it can do that a lot better than anyone you have working in that space. And so that's what it should be used for right now. I know I'm going through these kind of fast. I probably should have told y'all originally, like, I live out west right now, but I'm from the city. I'm from Philly, so I talk like fast a little bit. So anybody need me to slow down? No? Y'all good? Good. All right. Workforce management, I talked about that one already. Again, it's not replacing workforce management. It's not replacing quality monitoring. It's not replacing IVR or anything. It simply makes them better, faster, more efficient. Okay, that's the point of this. So when you want to think of how AI can be applied, and again, this is not rocket science stuff. This is stuff that all contact centers, all CX operations are doing in some way, shape, or form. Some of them are doing it manual. Some, this is again, I don't know what companies y'all from, so I can't say this company's name, but I actually consulted with a company just a couple of months ago, and they have. It's not huge. I think they have about 2,300 agents, hybrid environment. Most of them work from home, but they have 2 brick and mortar locations. And their scheduling was in Excel. It was an Excel doc. I mean, it was color coded. It was cute. Okay, it had different shades and everything. Okay, but their scheduling was in Excel. And I'm not saying, I don't want to offend y'all. I don't know where y'all work. Some of you wish yours was in Excel, probably. Okay, but we're at the point now where you should be having AI do that for you. You should not be still trying to figure out when your people should be scheduled and how much productivity they can produce and what their utilization is, what their adherence is. We're beyond that. So those are things like right now. You should be doing that now, and it's not terribly expensive either. You know, it's not like when technologies first come out, everything's like really, really expensive and hard to get, and it doesn't work with this and doesn't work with that. These 5 things that I'm showing you are things that are attainable. They're reasonably priced. They're widely available. I mean, obviously, I would prefer that you purchase Zoom because even though I'm not in sales, I own stock. So, it'd be cool if y'all did that. But honestly, in reality, and I know this might sound weird because there's a bunch of suppliers here, but I don't even really want you to decide to buy from Zoom. Let me explain. I really want you to take whatever you perceive your issue to be and find a consultant at ATC, okay? Find someone there to talk you through it, to help you figure out who is the right supplier for you. Because that way, if Zoom is one of our supplier or should be in the mix, then they'll let me know. And if not, then I won't waste your time. And, well, you know the other side of that. All right? Last one, I hope. Agent prototyping and profiling. This one's interesting because this accounts for, finally, and I'm going to put this in at about a B plus or about mid 80% of where it will be. But it is available right now. It is being used. And it takes a tremendous burden off of hiring, onboarding, scripting, all kinds of things when it comes to agent knowledge. All of you work in organizations where you have some people delivering service that might be better at it than others, whether this because of tenure, whether it's because of the time they take, their approach, whatever it is. We all know that there are top agents, right? And there are not so top agents. Okay, they're on the other side of the spectrum. And a lot of it has to do with the amount of time they do a job. When you have the ability to do agent prototyping and profiling, what that looks like is you go to an organization and you say, okay, who are your top 20% of your agents, top 10% of your agents, however specific you want it to be. The AI will monitor that person, their screen activity and their call activity, or their email, their chat, whatever interactions they work on. It will monitor them for, I would say, 30 days minimum. 90 days would be better. But if you're in a crunch, do it for at least 30 days. Then that AI will create the prototypical agent, right? So now you have a profile that is created. That profile can now listen on a live basis to all of your other agents in real time. I don't care how many of them there are. I don't care where in the world they are. I don't care what kind of interaction they are. The AI can listen to all of them at the same time, and it can suggest action for that agent based on how your top agents would have done it. So while it's listening to a call, it can say to your agent, say, hey, you know what? Let's call her Susie. You know, based on what this person just said, Susie would be looking at this or asking that. And depending on your scripting tools, you can actually bring the question up or bring the section up in the knowledge base or change the screen the agent is on. What you choose to do with that information is there are a plethora of choices. But this is when it comes to, like I said, chatbots and stuff are to, you know, like call avoidance, like keep you from talking to live agents, something like that. This right here would probably be the very next step in if you want to look at ROI or how AI can be used in the contact center to actually save money, like actually, you know, save revenue or expenses, however you want to look at it, this is getting, it increases your CSAT, it increases your Net Promoter Score, it gives you shorter average handle time, everything that you could possibly think of if all of your agents performed like your top agents do. And again, not terribly expensive. It's widely available. There's several different suppliers that have AI that will do these types of things. And you can see here, it's basically just tracking what's actually happening and suggesting what should happen. A lot of these do also interact with databases. They interact with scripting tools like Balto. It interacts with Freshworks and Salesforce and Zendesk and all those guys, Oracle. So again, it's widely available and good to use. Now, this is the last slide. I usually have this slide up there first. There's another slide I took out, but it showed Zoom's progression from 2010, 2011, when we were like trying to make meetings all the way up until the type of company that we are now. And I don't necessarily show that to show Zoom's progression, but I usually show that slide for the sake of this slide. Because not many people in Zoom in 2010 were thinking about contact center technology, unified communications technology, or AI in any way, shape, or form. All right? But that's where we are now. Because we were thinking about, very much like a lot of your organizations are thinking about, is what is next for me? What is next for my industry? What's next for our company? What's the benchmark? What's the best practices? I will tell you there's a lot of conversation. The keynote this morning was actually a good start, but there's a lot of conversation around AI. I mean, you're not going to go anywhere, not just in this conference, you're not going to go anywhere anytime where you're going to go to a trade show or conference and not hear someone, probably everyone, talking about AI and its impact. So it is here. It is unavoidable. It definitely will change. It already has changed how we do business. It will continue to change how we do business and how we deliver service. So it's not a matter, and I saw one of those slides this morning, it's not a matter of if for your company or your organization, it's just when. So you want to figure it out. So, and you can make the pivot. Don't worry about it, as long as you're not insane. Right? Everybody know what the definition of insanity is? Anybody know? Exactly. Don't do that. This is technology. It's going to change. It's going to be different. You will not be able to do the same thing. So a change in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. That's kind of morbid, right, if you think about it, but you get what they're saying. All right. I want to switch up now. All right, I think. Look at that. Did you see that?
That was great.
Look at that. Look at that. That's you.
I need to update my pictures. My hair color's a little different.
But good. You said you had a question?
Yeah, two questions on this. Where do you see this industry going? Right, you went from a Zoom as a conference provider to a unified communication platform. Where do you see Zoom going in over the next 4 to 5 years?
For us and a lot of companies that are like-minded in our space, it's the totality of the platform. It's the unification of the platform. In our industry, in the contact center industry, so far up until this point, it's been there's people in technology over here that run operations in the back office, and there's people in technology over here that are responsible for customer-facing and sales, and never the two shall meet. And even if we have some interaction, it's usually manual or some type of intranet or something that we made up. What we realized a couple of years back, and we started combining our CX with our EX, our employee experience, is because we have to close that gap. We have to make it so that back office and operational people and sales people and contact center people can function on the same platform, that they can see the same data. It's very frustrating to a customer who will spend time talking to a sales agent or then spend time talking to a customer service person, and then a fulfillment person is unaware of what happened. Or the person that actually gets to come out or deliver a product for them doesn't know the interactions they've had already. Or, I know anybody here in sales? Clearly I'm not, right? Okay, so I can say this, right? Or you have, salespeople that said what they had to say to get what they had to get, and then you have people in the back office that have to deliver on that, and sometimes it's not 100% accurate. So for us, it's making one platform. It's everybody being able to see the same data, the same customer interactions, the same product data, everything, and being able to communicate from that. So, and I do think more organizations are going to go that same route, because I don't know how you do it otherwise, in my opinion. Good question, though. We do have time for questions, and I'm actually going to ask Mike here some questions too. But anybody have any questions about anything I said so far? Anybody going to wait until I'm done talking and try to leave to ask me a question? No? Y'all wouldn't do that, right? Y'all wouldn't be like every other group that I've talked to, right? Y'all won't do that? Okay. All right. We're going to see. All right. I'm going to... This is actually fun for me because I usually end up doing on most of the time, and there's no... I don't know how you want to do this because there's like no chair or anything like that. We can just hang out. But I usually end up doing all the talking and the presenting for pretty much everywhere I go. But I enjoy interviewing. Like I used to think I was going to have a talk show. That was before talk shows were a thing. I told you, when I grew up, there was only like one guy on TV at night that had a talk show. That's it. Now there's like hundreds of them, I think. So, Mike, I'm going to ask you some questions. First, why don't you introduce yourself, and for those who might not know, a little bit about what your company does.
Yeah, all right. Can you guys hear me on the microphone or just talking loudly? Fantastic. All right, I'm Mike McCalmont. I lead the IT organization for a company called Atricure. I have a couple of our kind of all-star talent here in the room with me, which is fantastic. So when there's questions on the details, these guys will step up. What we are and who we are a therapy development company located just north of here in Mason, Ohio. We develop therapies to address heart arrhythmias. Heart arrhythmias, if your heart is not beating in a sinus rhythm, you have a problem. It's called arrhythmia. Or AFib, afibrillation, and we treat the hardest cases, or we create therapies. To create a therapy, we have to create medical devices in order for the surgeon to be able to ablate the external portion of the heart to actually kind of kill those rogue signals that cause your heart to beat out of rhythm. And so that's the area that we're in, and we also have a therapy for post-pain management. So we're about a $500 million public company with about 1,300 employees, and we're growing anywhere from 13 to 14% a year. And just, before Brandon asked me the question, I don't get up here and talk, often. When we have a great experience, I volunteer to do it. And so the partnership between Zoom and ATC has been really fruitful for us, and I can walk you through that journey. I'd also mention to Brandon in preparation, don't ask me a question about AI. As a consumer of the technology, we want the product to work. And it will do some really great things. Behind the scenes, we assume that they're innovating with AI. We're not at a point in time, we're not at the point in Spear where we're implementing that. We want a product that works so that we get the business outcomes that we're looking for. And I can be a really strong advocate for Zoom, the platform. We can talk a little bit broader about what we're doing with it, because the call center piece is an element for us, a smaller element, but we're doing a whole lot more with it, which some really, I think, some innovation, that we'll share with you here through the course of the conversation.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you mentioned that part, because I used to tell people, obviously before I said I was an operator before, so before I got into Zoom and the technology side and stuff like that, I was the guy that a lot of third-party consultants or people or vendors, would just come in and hey, like you should try this, you should try that, like look at what it does. And I'm glad you said it, because I used to. It was sometimes it was hard for me to explain to them that I didn't care, right? Like as an operational leader, I want my customer to be taken care of. I want my employees to be happy. I don't give a shit how you do that. I don't care that an IVR talks to a PBX and gets information from a CRM, so that I don't care. Like that's all good fluffy stuff that happens, and I want the technology to be sound, I want it to be secure, I want the infrastructure and architecture to work, but I don't really want to know what it's
That's right. We
doing.
appreciate that someone's investing in the tools to make it do these things that create the business outcomes that we're looking for. So
Yes.
we appreciate the investment. It just shouldn't be the product. So
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So I do want to get started with just one question, then we'll see where it goes, because one of the things that I hear from the people a lot, even when they're thinking about AI, whether it's in contact center or otherwise, when they're thinking about AI and technology and wanting to make some type of digital transformation, usually that scope of what I want to do or what I see in the world is like the size of a globe.
Mm-hmm.
How did you decide where to start?
yeah, well, I mean, for us, let me talk about the evolution, because I'm thrilled with the tool sets that we have in front of us today. I'm old enough to look back 10 years, and I mean, starting with many of you still may have an on-site PBX system. One of those things that's ancient, runs on-premise, and it's a security concern. Well, that was our evolution. And 10 years ago, you couldn't find a solution to replace a phone system that was capable of operating on a global basis. And so, back in 2015 and 16, I was doing the analysis, and there wasn't a solution out there. Today, there is. I'm really excited to say that, what led us down this journey was maybe more of an accident. And we had an on-site PBX system, and every time we would run our vulnerability scannings, it was off the roof and it was red, and we had explained to our leadership as to why are we so vulnerable, and it's because we had these 20-year-old servers that couldn't be upgraded sitting in, and they were publicly facing because they had to be. And so we started looking for a solution. We reached out to ATC, brought a whole bunch of different solutions in, and Zoom was really the point of made a ton of sense for us. And not only did it make sense for us from replacing our phone system, but also made sense for us to say, wow, what an incredible platform to be what I would call our executive collaboration suite. And that meant a solution that allowed us to put technology in the conference rooms around the Zoom suite, which works really, really well. It's where we meet with our board of directors. It's where our executive leadership team, we're hugely integrated into the FDA, the Food Drug Administration, and all those regulatory bodies. And that is all kind of the collaboration platform that Zoom has set for us. So that's how we ended up here. I would say less strategic and more a factor of some things that we needed to do to retire some risks that we had.
Okay. Awesome. This section, as you guys were prepped with the wonderful synopsis of what this meeting was going to be, that I take no credit for. Louis did that. Tremendous job, actually, putting on what this was going to be. But this is your opportunity to talk to one of your peers. So what questions do you have about what they're doing from a technology perspective, or maybe where you might be in your approach to it? Are any of you looking at making any adding AI into? I mean, I know we had the one slide where we said how many people were using like 2 or 3, and nobody raised their hand. So I hope all of you call your ATC rep when we're done, because if you're not doing at least 1 or 2 or 3, then you're a little bit behind right now. But any of you have any plans to add AI into what you're doing? Let's call it the next year, within the next 12 months. Anyone? Okay. What are you thinking about? Again, I'm not in sales. I just want to know.
I actually use it every day.
Okay.
I'm trying to get some of the business, the outside business, to use it for report writing, reviews, transcribing telephone calls, scheduling, which we have. I work for the city games.
Okay.
Our police department is still using spreadsheets
Yeah.
to do scheduling. Even though we have a product that has AI built into it already, that will pull up the schedule, show them who's working, who's not working, who's available, who
Yeah.
they still want to, they just got a call last week, hey, can you pull up the data for us and put it on a CSV, we can ingest it into this database.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because that's why I like having you guys having experts actually in the room. So deciding on the technology is one thing, right? Getting it in, going through that whole elaborate process, picking the right supplier and all that, and implementing it. But you still got to get people to use it, right? Anybody have any? And you can go first, Mike. But anybody have any ideas you want to help out with how you increase user adoption once you make a technology choice?
Fire department uses it, and they love it.
Well, that's the fire
And
department.
how do they, maybe explain,
you know.
explain to the group, how are they using it? How are you making sure that whatever the output of it is quote, safe, secure, and accurate?
Yeah, I mean, it's only internal. Because we can lock down permissions as much as we need. Fire department does it, if somebody calls in, and who they can call, come in and fix the shift. Two firemen want to trade shifts, they can just do it themselves, they might go to the supervisor. Police department, they just got their old antiquated ways, and they don't want to change.
Interesting.
Getting them to adopt it is. So we're at the point now where I'm writing the first three form, giving them documentation, here's how you use the API, here's where this information is, here's what that is. Have fun.
Anybody want to help out? Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Having an advocate as part of your change management plan is important. And I know he just made a really good point. I know all you guys know this, but it's worth saying again. You can make every right decision when it comes to the technology that you're going to use and implementing it. But if you don't have a good change management plan, your user adoption is not going to go. It's just not going to be, because we're all human, and the technology can be great, but you want people to use it, and the people have to feel heard. They have to feel a part of the process. That's a big part of it as well. Good question. Yes, ma'am.
Have you tried having the people that love it, the fire department, to the police department directly and talk about how it's helped them, how it's benefited them?
We have not. The conversation, I got roped into this actually because we just took that product to the cloud. So we used to have an on-prem database that police had access to, and so they could run their own queries. Well, now it's gone. And so now they're a data back. The information's there, but it's in the cloud. That means an API to get to it. They don't know how to do it. So now they're in this panic state where, oh, we need to do all the scheduling, but we can't get to the data. So. From what I understand, when the product was first purchased and they were setting up the fire department, they actually were setting it up for police, and they got happy with the process and just decided they didn't want to use it.
That's interesting, because I feel like one of our best deployments of AI was making our data more accessible using AI tools. Putting our data in Snowflake and just being able to run regular queries, just regular people asking the AI bot, and then the AI is running queries and stuff like that. It just seems like that's kind of the best case scenario. We've done the hard work.
Was that scenario you're referring to more of a generative system, or was that something that's more predictive in terms of how you're using the AI?
Generative, I would say. I mean, just before, I mean, if you had to run SQL queries against our data, now you can ask it very professional. Not really explaining processes, but everyday language, give me the number of customers that did this, and that.
And what's that platform that you're typing that kind of natural language prompt into?
I have to look at what tool we're using. I don't remember, but again, just
Okay.
things that we're using a tool called .ai.
Okay.
We also tried a homegrown solution that just didn't work very well. This was off the shelf. But I feel like we've done the hard work already.
Yeah. I want to be respectful of the people that need to come in. I know there's another session. I would encourage you guys to keep this dialogue. One of the best things about doing a workshop like this for me is not coming and listening to me talk. It's learning from each other. It's learning from your peers. I can tell you when I was an operational leader, that was the best part of these things for me, was to just pick the brain of the people and ask them questions and mind meld together. So there's ample opportunities to do that. Of course, if there's going to be, I'm pretty sure because I've been to one or two of these. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some alcohol and conversations later on as well. So however, whatever your preferred format is for doing it, I would say take advantage of that. And I'll say again what I said at the beginning, because I mean this. I understand you guys are operational people, and when you sacrifice the time to come and do something like this, it matters. So I appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully, one of those 5 things you guys will try to implement. They're happening. I didn't want to scare you, but since they're already happening, if you're not doing them, then that means you're behind your competition already. So get with somebody in ATC and figure out how to catch up. So thanks for your time.